Welcome, everyone, to the Muskie Sports Network and Coffee with Coaches presented by Jennings Java. I'm Tom Caudell, and joining me today is Muskingum Esports head coach Tristan Murphy. Coach, welcome to
Hi there. Thanks for having me, Tom. I appreciate it.
Hey, Jennings Java is the place to go for the freshest roast around. I know you're a coffee guy. Here it is, JenningsJava.com. And the cool part about that, and you know this, is the story behind Jennings Java, founded here on our campus by student athlete Daniel Jennings, a men's soccer player. It's quite the entrepreneur who's gone on to build his brand and now giving back to the university, sponsoring this show. And I'll tell you, JenningsJava.com, if you're a coffee connoisseur, that's where you got to go. They take care of you.
Yep, I agree. I tell you what, Daniel's coffee is what got me through some days in the undergrad for sure.
Still gets me through days right now. So, Coach, we were talking a little bit before we go on air here. This is an opportunity to let our Muskie Nation get to know you a little bit better, get to know Coach Murphy, not just as Coach Murphy, but also some other things that people may not know about you. We'll have some fun questions, have a good interview, and then we'll let the people get to know you a little better. We'll start with, when you were growing up, how did you become involved with esports?
So my first real big experience with esports, when I was, I remember watching Call of Duty Ghosts, the world main event, their competition. I was watching it in my bedroom with a couple of my buddies, and it was the first time I had been playing Call of Duty for a really long time, but it was the first time I had seen that level of play. And once I watched it, I was like, this is really cool, because I always had that kind of competitive edge side to me. So once I saw that, I was like, well, I can do that. Like, that's something I'm interested in. And then, so shortly after, about a month later, I ended up actually trying out for a team. It was known as Team Envision at the time. And I qualified to be their fourth guy, and we competed in a lot of tournaments, won some money together, actually. It was a pretty cool time. And yeah, so like, that's kind of where I found my ground. And just over the years, my interest in the esports scene just evolved from there.
I'm telling you, it's so amazing to see how esports has evolved from a decade ago to where it is today. One of the fastest growing sports, in the country here at the collegiate level, programs popping up. And of course, our esports program here having so much success in what I would say, the early stages of the program. Coach, you went to Muskingum, you're undergrad, you're Muskie at heart, you're part of the Long Magenta line. What was it that attracted you here to the campus?
Yeah, so I was going through, obviously, the recruiting process myself at the time. I was a track and field guy when I went to Muskingum. And I remember sitting down with, my dad came with me on my visit, and sat down with Coach Gleason, actually, and grad assistant at the time, Coach Chase Addy. And they both really persuaded me. They were both great people, and just really showed me around the campus and just gave me a reason to love it and keep my competitive and my sports side going while I got my degree. So I really loved it there. I was attracted to the campus, the people there, the team. I ended up doing it overnight later on and loving it as well. So it's just really, really great place to be. Just the atmosphere is just something you don't find anywhere else.
I'll tell you, I love Coach Gleason. I've worked with him throughout his entire tenure here at Muskingum, and Addie, one of the best pole vaulters to wear the black and magenta here at Muskingum, doing great things now. When you think back as a student here at Muskingum, do you have a favorite memory, something that stands out?
Oh man! So one of the coolest things relating to like the gaming side of me. So I actually had a friend in undergrad who started a YouTube channel. His name was Lance Goddard, and he started this YouTube channel, and we kind of there was about a group of 4 of us, and we would all kind of post videos to it. And he ended up kind of pursuing and keeping that channel going on after he graduated, things like that. And he now has like 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. So it was just really cool, like being able to start that with them, and just it was a really cool way for all of us to bond and also do other things. So
you talked a little bit about, had some exposure to esports, saw what the competitive side of esports was. When you graduated from Muskingum, how did esports start to become that career path?
Yeah, so shortly after graduating from Muskingum, I kind of decided, it had always been like there on the side, and I was really into creating content. Like I said, I helped my friend Lance make YouTube content, things like that. And after, I was like, well, maybe I should start streaming. So shortly after college, I started my own Twitch channel and things like that. I started playing games, and I got very invested into a game called Rocket League. It's soccer with cars, essentially. And it's slowly becoming one of the biggest esports there are. And the more I played it, I kept getting better and investing more time. And Then I got involved in the esports side of it as well, where I've been able to make a whole lot of connections there with great friends, other content creators, some pros, things like that. And eventually, actually it was April 2021, I actually left my former job to pursue content creation full time. And then about 2 months later is kind of when former Coach Bilski reached out to me about the whole Muskingum opportunity. And it kind of popped in my head that esports could be a realization of a career for me, and it got really exciting. So,
you mentioned Coach Bilski, great guy. Miss seeing him here on campus. Definitely did some great things here for our esports program. When you think about where you're at today, who do you think has had a big influence on the way you approach your job?
Yeah, so I've had a lot of coaches in my past. I was a multi-sport athlete all throughout high school. I ran track in college, so I've had a lot of coaches that have impacted me in so many different ways. Coach Bilski has been a great mentor to me. He's still there for me if I have questions about things. Great contact for me to have, and just overall, he helped me get into the scene, and I couldn't thank him enough for giving me the opportunity. And then I have a lot of coaches that I model my own styles off of. Some distinguished Muskingum University alum himself, actually, Nathan Pratty. He helped me. He was an assistant coach in football for me in high school, and he's a big one who really pushed me in everything I did in life. So I was really thankful for him. And then Coach Marty Boyne, he was a GA once I actually got here on campus for track, and he was also a really great mentor of mine. And just we've stayed in contact over the years, still talk to this day. We're pretty close. So those are some guys that just really gave me something to kind of mold myself after.
Two great guys. I remember both of them here as student athletes at Muskingum. Coach Pratty now, baseball player here now up at Coshocton, I believe, and then Marty over, I believe, at W&J on their track and field staff. So two guys that certainly got their roots here at Muskingum. When you think about the day, how do you like to start your day?
Yeah, so I mean, of course, I can't start the day without a cup of coffee. Just like we said. I've got my sweet mug right here, even customized. Got the Murphy, the Shamrock on it. Yeah, I like to. So typically, I'll start my day. I wake up in the mornings, get my coffee ready. Typically, I do a bowl of oatmeal for breakfast. And what I'll do is I'll sit down at my computer here at my house actually, and I'll get some content. Typically ready for socials. I'm a Premiere Pro editor, so I do a lot of edits. Just even if they're just short little clips for Twitter, for TikTok, for Instagram, things like that. Or if I'll get a little work in for a couple hours, maybe on a bigger project for a teaser, trailer video, things like that, just some hype videos. So that's typically how I start my day, just kind of getting into some video editing. I typically will catch up on some YouTube videos while I do some editing as well. I'm a very big consumer of YouTube content, so that's one of my favorite things to do while I'm working throughout the day.
Coach, you mentioned starting the day with coffee. Got to throw it out there one more time. JenningsJava.com. Visit it, look at it, order, get on the subscription rate. Best, freshest roast around. Daniel Jennings, take care of you all the way. What about here at work when you're on campus? What is it that energizes you?
Yeah, so I mean, I love hanging out with all my guys and girls. I mean, they're all great. All my athletes are just they're really cool people. And one of my favorite things about esports is just the variety of people that it brings together. I think video games are just that cool. It's the cement. It's like the layering of cement between the bricks. It just pulls everybody together because it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. A lot of us have that video game exposure, and there's no reason for your background to say you can't play video games, anything like that. It's such a cool unifying sport, and I love being around all my players because it's just being around them the whole day while I'm doing work, and it's so cool to see. It's a culture that I really love, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It helps me be productive when I see them doing things, hanging around the arena, doing their own work, things like that. So.
Now, I tell you, Coach, you talk about that bond it can create. And I remember it was several years ago, I believe it was the World Cup of Fortnite, when my oldest son, Tanner, at the time came in and said, we got to watch this. And I'm watching this. Millions of people are watching it. They're playing for some pretty big money. And that kind of fostered this whole thing in our household. My oldest son, he's in 10th grade. My youngest is in 8th. And myself doing some trios on Fortnite. I think they carry me a lot in those games, but it's fun. It creates that family bond. And I have a lot of esports athletes in my classes and love hearing them talk about what happens in the arena and how it has impacted their lives. What about outside of work? What do you like to do? What energizes you?
Yeah, so I mean, outside of work, as I said, I am still creating content, so that's one of my biggest hobbies. It's something that was going to become my full time job. For that, it was my full time job for that month and a half, 2 months that led up to me becoming a GA. But in reality, it's not even work to me. It's so much fun, and I have a lot of friends who are content creators, like I said as well. So like. Organizations like Space Station Gaming, G2, Envy, probably missing a couple others, but they are streamers for these organizations, and I've become friends with them throughout the whole process. And they spending a lot of time talking to them, just hanging out, playing games, even off stream and stuff like that. So that's typically how I spend a lot of my hobby free time and stuff like that.
What about you? Think here, you took over the program in the fall here at Muskingum. I had that quick transition on campus for a little short time as the GA, went through the process, hired as the head coach. What is there something from the fall that you're particularly proud of, an accomplishment through the esports program?
Yeah, I think just not even reflecting off the program itself, but just my relationship with all the players and just kind of forming that bond and establishing kind of like my spot as the director. I think it felt really good just kind of spending the rest of that semester with them, getting to know them, and just finding where I fit in this, and then just making the pieces work and kind of keep on rolling like a train. And then just seeing how they performed last semester was incredible. We had a first place with the Fortnite team, second place for the Rainbow Six, and then a third place for Madden. It was an incredible first semester for me. I've got some great athletes, and yeah, we just started back the season this week too, so I'm just excited to see if we can keep it rolling.
Yeah, I mean, speaking back to the fall, I mean, Trey and Keston going back-to-back as Fortnite national champions is an unbelievable accomplishment for the esports program. What's one thing that people don't know about you?
Oh, man. So one thing people don't know about me, I would say I'm one of my biggest, so I have a oddly large collection of Rubik's Cubes. So I'm a Rubik's Cube collector. I have a bunch of different ones. I have some 5x5, some of the triangular ones, things like that. They've always been fascinated by them. I've always been like a number and algorithm kind of guy. And that's kind of, if you're not familiar with the solving of Rubik's Cubes, it's all based off algorithms and just repetition. So I started collecting those a few years back. So
that's good. I think I've been trying to solve a Rubik's Cube for about 20 years, and I still have it. And I'm still pretty far away. So might stop down and get some pointers on that one. What's something that you've seen recently that's made you smile?
Oh, man. So actually just this week, it makes me smile because with the whole COVID situation, finally seeing us be able to get back to some like live in-person stuff. Rocket League actually just announced their first in-person event again for late March. So that got me really excited. I'm super excited to see it's the North American regional event. So teams competing for best team in North America essentially. And it made me happy to see that and just see how see that we're going to hopefully be able to start getting back into these things.
When you were a kid and we're turning the clock back a few years here, what did you think you wanted to be when you grew up?
Well, I'll tell you, when I was a kid, the funniest thing when I was a young kid, I remember specifically telling my parents that a garbage man was it seemed like it'd be a great job. You started the day early, you got done, and you got paid good. So that was my first ever dream job. But I think as the years kind of transitioned, around high school, I realized that math and numbers were kind of what made me tick. And I think around that time, I was pretty dead set on becoming either a mathematician or an actuary. So for those of you that don't know what an actuary is, it's actually like the person you find out the odds regarding any different things in the insurance world. So basically, you become the one that prices the insurance based on different things happening and stuff like that. So that was always intrigued me.
So let me ask you this, Coach. If I'm hanging out with three of your friends, we're having a good time, and I ask them to use words to describe you, what words would your friends use?
Yeah. So first one here's got to be competitive. I mean, and that's probably the first one that drives me to what I'm doing here as a director of esports, coach, things like that, is the competition. Number two, I'm gonna say clever, just because I'm always witty. Me and my friends were always, giving each other stuff, just talking to each other, especially in game. There's always that culture of talking trash to each other, even your buddies, and just being able to, be on the fly and have something back. And then I think lastly would be just calm and just kind of calm under pressure. I think that's something you kind of gain over your experience of going through, repetition makes you more calm. Once you've seen something so many times, you just become very cool under pressure. And I think slowly I'm, gaining more and more of that. So.
What about this, Coach? If we brought the film company in here, we're doing a film on Coach Murphy, who are we going to reach out to star as Coach Murphy?
Well, okay, so there's a really funny story behind this. When I was at Muskingum, I was an RA, and my boss at the time, Thurman Clark, he was an area coordinator. He was a really good guy, and they had a joke because I shaved my beard off one time, and they told me I looked like the main character from Split, played by James McAvoy, because I had my head shaved and my beard shaved. So I would have to go with James McAvoy, probably.
There you go, man. Split's an interesting movie, that's for sure. What about superpower? If you could have one superpower, what would you want?
Superpower has always been a cool one for me. I mean, I feel like the ability to fly would be just so beneficial, especially, I love to travel, so it's kind of like a cheat code to traveling. I can just fly wherever I want, not have to worry about anything. So I think flying would probably be my choice.
That's good. I think that's a power that, Superman kind of got that little popularity going with the flying aspect. During COVID, a lot of people have been kind of staying home, staying closer, just to where you're familiar at. But what about a food item? If you had to have one food, what's your go-to if you can only have one?
So I cook a really mean burger, and I think I'm always a tried and true burger guy. I've done a couple food challenges of my own in the past. I've eaten I think it was a 2-pound burger before, which was absurd, way too much. I completed it though. I didn't quit. I think a good burger can go a long way.
Yeah, a burger is a staple of any diet out there. I love it.
That's right.
What about, at the time right now, digital age, and you're definitely in the digital age with esports. What are 3 apps that you have to have on your phone?
Yeah. All right. So app number 1's got to be Twitter. I use Twitter probably the most of any social media platform there is. And I don't ever shut up, and Twitter kind of gives me that platform to not have to do that and just put my thoughts out into the world, even if no one wants to listen. I think number 2 has got to be Spotify. I couldn't go without my music, and I'm a Spotify over Apple Music kind of person. So I'm constantly listening to music, whether I'm on my car, whether I'm playing games. If I'm streaming, I'm also listening to music. Even when, there's downtime between like important matches, throw music in the ear. It just helps relax me. And then I think last, I would probably have to go. I think I would go with Discord because, as a gamer, I'm using Discord constantly. And just it's almost better than texting, calling, things like that. I've just got so much accessibility in one little app there. So,
what about a TV show? Is there anything that is your go-to, is something that you like to binge, or you've been binged recently that you go back to?
Yeah. So I'm a big anime guy. Really into anime. And that's a lot of them. Gamer culture also has anime in it. One anime right now, and they're actually releasing the newest season, episode at a time, week by week right now, of Demon Slayer. It's one of the newer animes, and I went back and watched it a couple times. It's got great fight scenes, things like that. It's I'm really looking forward to binging the whole second season once it's all out and stuff.
Yeah, as you look forward to the future, Coach, is there something on a bucket list that you want to be able to check off, something that you maybe already have planned or want to have planned?
Yeah, so one bucket list item that I've been going at for a little while now, it's one of my goals to go to every NFL stadium, and I'm slowly checking them off. I've been able to, about 2 years ago, actually, I'm a big Philadelphia Eagles fan, and I finally got to make it over to the link when they actually ended up losing to Seattle. It was Carson Wentz's last game as an Eagle, if I remember right. Yeah, he ended up getting the concussion from Jadeveon Clowney, so it was a shame to see, but
hey, man, that's a great check off list. There's lots of great NFL stadiums around. Got a great NFL game coming up here in a couple of weeks. The Who Day Nation's going pretty crazy here in Ohio, and hopefully they can keep it rolling. Let's flip it back forward here to Muskingum a little bit and talk about what the emotion was like for you. First, when Chris Bilski offered you the graduate assistant position to come back and be a part of a program that was certainly growing and also very successful?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of told me, so back in, like I said, in April is when I quit my office job full time to do content creation, and then I remember May they had an Overwatch tournament, or it might have been late April, and he invited me up, and he kind of, at the end of the night, they won the tournament. It was a lot of excitement. He kind of talked to me. He said, "Hey, this is like a potential position. This might be opening up. I just want to know if you would be interested." And the excitement was there. I had been excited for the program since it's been around. Well, I remember my last semester of undergrad, I was sitting in, I believe, Boyd 204. And it was the computer lab on the second floor. And I was sitting there, and my dad sends me a text message. He goes, "Hey, did you see Muskingum's Facebook page?" And I said, "No, I didn't check Facebook like I'm in class." He's like, "Go look at it." I was like, "Okay." So I went, and I see that Muskingum actually announces their esports program. And ever since that day, I was a huge proponent, just supporter, whether it was on socials, just seeing them, seeing their accolades, things like that. I've been supporting them forever, and just to be able to come back and be a part of my alma mater and in a program that I couldn't even believe was existing at that time, it was so exciting, and that opportunity meant a ton to me. So.
And the next step of this process is, Coach, you get on campus, and literally not too long after that, Coach Bilski announces that he's going to be leaving Muskingum to go to Grand Valley State for esports. So the head coaching position opens up, and you're a candidate for that position. What was it like to, one, kind of go through the interview process after just starting as a GA, and then two, ultimately being named the head coach?
Yeah, I mean, it blew my mind to hear that he was leaving. He obviously gave me my opportunities as the GA, and he was already a great mentor, and just kind of taking it on full force. It was like, well, I have to decide kind of if I want to do this. And I realized that with it being my alma mater, my dream, I mean, this is something I wanted to do. I wanted to take control of, and I couldn't be given a better first opportunity to do so than at Muskingum. So I fully went into it and put my all into the process, and I couldn't have asked for much better. So I was very happy and thankful that I got it. And then just everything after it was very exciting. Just happy to do it for my alma mater.
Coach, you got through the fall semester. The second semester starting up here this week. When you look forward to the esports program, what are some goals that you have, not just for this year, but as we continue to move into the future?
Yeah, I mean, as esports grow, I mean, games come and go, and that's one thing I think it's really important to recognize. I think expanding, into teams, as our team slowly gets larger, as we're given, more opportunities to expand. I look forward to kind of competing in even more titles, and just as competitive as we have been in others, and just expanding even more on the great culture and great teams we have there.
We mentioned it earlier here in this interview and chat about how esports has really expanded and has grown exponentially here over the last few years. And here in our area with a number of high schools now that support esports programs. How can recruits go about getting more information, getting in contact with you? What's the best route for them to figure out about being a Muskie?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, to become a Muskie from an area around here, if you follow us on Twitter at Muskingum E, that's probably one of the best places. There, you'll be able to contact me. You'll be able to contact the esports account. You'll be able to contact pretty much anyone you need to. And from there, I can get these interested students in my Discord and get them involved, playing with our guys. Meet some of them and just see if the program's a fit for them.
The other part of that, Coach, is you guys do a tremendous job on Twitch, streaming all your events. Easy way to follow the action. If you can't be here, you want to see what Muskingum is a little bit more about. We got our own dedicated channel, which I'm sure you helped develop. Coach, I want to thank you for taking time today. I really appreciate it, taking it out of your schedule and get to know you a little bit better and getting to know our esports program.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you having me. It's a lot of fun. I love doing this stuff. And I mean, when it's your passion, it's pretty easy to talk about. So.
Yeah, and just remember, for the Muskie Nation, Jennings Java, JenningsJava.com for all the freshest roast out there. Special shout out to Daniel Jennings for the Java and also for supporting Muskingum Athletics. Coach, thank you again. Good luck and go Muskies.
Yes, sir. Go Muskies.